Hello everyone, this is Kelly Beard of KarmicTools.com, and this is your weekly forecast for May 3rd through the 9th of 2020. So I had to add a note to this week's forecast because I realized that the transition into the Gemini North Node was not mentioned last week. I find that really hard to believe. I think I talked about it in other places. I have it on my calendar as May 2nd, but I've also seen it as May 4th, so I think it depends on the system you use and the time zone you're in. But suffice it to say, this week it shifts, and we are in new territory for the next 18 months on several levels. When the nodes shift, so too do the eclipses. We have our last two Cancer-Capricorn eclipses in June-July this year that will also create two back-to-back new moons in Cancer. When we have two new or full moons back-to-back in a 28-day lunar cycle, it creates what I call the lunar flip. So for the last 18 months, the new moon has preceded the full moon, asking us to plant seeds and walk by faith to the full moon, which often illuminates what we did not fully grasp at seed time. This has also been the same cycle of Cancer-Capricorn eclipses, rearranging fundamental areas of life for one and all. Now we begin a new 18-month rhythm of the full moon preceding the new moon, along with Gemini-Sag eclipses, which we haven't experienced since 2010 to 2013, and before that, 2001 to 2003. How can you use the full moon to illuminate all that you are working with, clear the non-essential, and prepare to plant seeds at the new moon? That will be the new guiding lunar light and rhythm. How can you activate your imagination and expand your consciousness to cultivate a new vision of your life as an individual and as a participant in the social collective realms? We have spent the last year and a half connecting to what we love, what we need and nurture, but now we have to shift to create altogether new expressions of those very aspects of life. How can you create, magnetize, and sustain all that you need, desire, and deserve in this very new territory? Eclipses shake things up in specific areas of life for that same 18-month cycle that sets the tone for the next 9 to 18 years. I remind everyone here to dig in to discover what you are ready, willing, and able to change, and then work with the eclipses in those areas of life ruling the houses in your chart. Then remember that everything is a response to the last thing in preparation for the next thing. Now you can feel into the changes going forward. It is time to tell a new story with your choices and show the universe what is truly important to you so that your new story is as interesting, educational, and uplifting as possible. So the rhythm, the vibration, the lessons, the energies, they're changing. And so wherever Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, Libra has been rearranged, fundamentals for everyone, those departments in your life are unique to your own blueprint. It's shifting into Gemini, Sag, Virgo, Pisces. So on one hand, we've just spent 18 months making lots of choices and decisions whether we knew it or not. And now we're moving into the processor area of what do we need going forward? What are we going to anchor? Because the next thing is going to be Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius. So we're going to anchor next. Right now we're processing everything that got stirred up in the last cycle so that we can prepare for what we will anchor in the next cycle. So that also gives you a little bit more insight into how to choose. Basically, we've shifted what was important to us in the self versus other department as well as home versus work. All that's changed now. Now in Gemini, Sag, Virgo, Pisces, it's what's practical for your body and spirit, and what are the facts that you're dealing with, what are the on-the-ground realities, and how is that telling a story of your life? How is that expressing who you are and what you think you're worth and what you think your purpose is? This is a time where we're going to rewire ourselves to express something new and different that is more rooted in these new level values and priorities. Everything has changed in the last 18 months. Let's just say that, without even getting into specifics. Everything has changed. And so right now we're going to be presented with a number of opportunities and options and choices that we may have never had before or that we may have not had in a very long time. And we want to respond to those choices and make those choices from obviously a heart center, but also a place of knowing what your self versus other, home versus work departments are doing right now. To know what you want, know who you are, know what you need, know how much you can do for yourself and how much you need other people for. So there's a lot of renewal that's already gone on in all our relationships, and a lot of that is because we as individuals have changed and evolved. So things around us have to naturally change or go away. And usually things go away and evolve on their own, and sometimes we come back together with relationships or circumstances. And so we're going to take in all the information of the last 18 months and make really new choices over the next 18 months, new visions, new dreams that will probably settle down and ground and become hopefully something beautiful and nourishing during the Taurus-Scorpio eclipses, which will come after this. And so that following 18 months will be when we really are able to build whatever's coming up in its place of the things that have gone down. And that's my 2 cents on the North Node changing, but I didn't mean to off-road like that, but I trust that it will land where it's supposed to. And now we can move on to what is a pretty packed weekly forecast. It's still a very personal week. It's all Venus, Moon, feminine, sacred feminine. Mercury's doing some good stuff this week. That's useful because we've had a lot of other processing going on. So this week might be when some of the ahas come through pretty clearly. And we have Beltane, which is the Taurus gate of power. So it's a very potent week energetically to co-create with. It's still spring, everyone. Let's not forget. With all that we know has come to an end, we need to focus on the new beginnings, because that's what time it is in this particular hemisphere. So Venus square Neptune happens on May 3rd, which is Sunday. This energy is great for creative flow. If you are artistically inclined in any way, you will have access to an energy that may allow you to create something amazing. Dig deep and allow yourself to free flow. This energy can also challenge relationships, personal or professional, to keep it real in some way, and ones which are not on a true solid foundation are likely to dissolve under this influence. When Neptune is involved, we see life through a completely different kind of lens, often seeing the potential rather than the reality of the situation. Detach and trust. If your relationship happens to end under this influence, it's not necessarily a bad thing, because it suggests that it was never on solid ground to begin with. Be thankful and move on. This activation is just helping you align your true values and priorities with the vision in your mind and heart. But you will have to expand your consciousness in some way, follow your inner compass, and take practical steps going forward to manifest or magnetize the vision. May 4th is Monday, also the gate of power, but Mercury conjunct Sun. This energy will compel you to express yourself on many levels. Communication will be a focus. Just make sure that it is reciprocated. You will have access to some powerful energy that can and probably will make quite an impression on others if you need to. This is a good time to travel if possible. However, if not physically, then mentally and certainly within your own area, because you will take in more information per square inch than usual, so pay attention. You may even gain some much-deserved recognition from others that you have worked so hard for. So this is just Mercury and Sun coming together in an initiation of new consciousness, new awareness. So within us, energetically we can all sort of tap into how have we evolved over the last 6 weeks or 6 months or 6 years. And to honor on the 4th, the Taurus gate of power, the Beltane in the Celtic tradition. This is a turn of the wheel and a high holy day for some of us, where we celebrate earth and life and love, and the power of spring really starts to blossom this season. So winter, spring, summer, and fall are all active periods with a lot of movement, change, and choices to be made. The gates of power mark the midpoint between these initiations, and midpoints are always potent creative times that allow you to prune the non-essential while anchoring what is real or alive. This cross-quarter is an infinitely fertile time in between, a place also referred to as the sweet spot, that very thin membrane between seed and new life, between spring equinox and summer solstice. This is a warm-up, the initiation of summer, Life is bursting forth. Initial work is done, and this is a time to celebrate fertility, abundance, and our relationship to Mother. It is also a time to celebrate all that you have created and contributed to while mindfully preserving life along the way. Rituals, dance, drumming, toning, and/or chanting are always used in celebrations of Earth and her bounty, as is wearing or surrounding yourself with green, the color of life, love, and the heart chakra. So that will be a beautiful Monday. And then Tuesday, I have my Instagram Live, which, by the way, we apologize. We had a little techie issues and weren't able to save last week's. But we did have some fun, and we'll have some fun this week, and I hope you all will join us again. Or check out the replays that are listed on my Karmic Tools YouTube channel. And then the 7th is Thursday. We have the Scorpio full moon, which always shines a bright light on that which we may have overlooked, suppressed, or postponed that will no longer remain hidden. That's what happens when the light gets to the Scorpio department. This is our soul level and the place in your chart where your most soul work gets done, let's say. Scorpio moon can also be a very emotionally intense moon to experience and navigate. So rather than let it plunge you to the depths of the underworld, try to consciously choose an aspect of your being or your life that you are ready, willing, and finally able to truly release. And ask that the universe support this process with ease and grace. Humans are creatures of habit and generally resist letting go, but honestly, that will only intensify and prolong any pain you may be already experiencing. Take your power back by choosing to allow whatever it is to go from your life so that it can either come back in a higher, purified form, or something even better can grow up in its place that would better suit your needs at this time anyway. Remember, Scorpio is raw truth. Don't try to make sense of it until next month and the Sag full moon, because that brings the higher truth. Right now, just work on surrender and acceptance, as well as reclaiming your own power to direct your life. This is a potent time for consciously co-creating with the life-death-life cycle. What in and around you needs to die so that something new can be seeded to come into existence. This full moon asks you to define your deepest core values, because it's still Taurus time, and then asks, what are you willing to sacrifice for something of greater value to you? So this is our invisible investment in the garden we'd like to see blossom in real life. It's a place where we can release anything that is unconsciously or subconsciously blocking our greater good, or anything toxic, rank, or dead that needs to be moved out of the way so new life can function there. Because all energy is just recycling, moving it around. And again, my world is all about helping you use what it's good for. This is what the energies are good for. This week is going to be an eye-opener in a lot of ways, because you're going to have this awakening of consciousness, this illumination in your soul parts, but then we've got this new shift in the social collective realms that we're going to have to not answer to, but respond to, because we're part of it. So also on the 7th, which is Thursday, Mercury is going to sextile Neptune, so that's a really good one. We're initiating on an individual level this new level of consciousness for ourselves, but a little later in the week we get to tap into the collective dream and vision and kind of add our imagination or our imaginative piece to the puzzle. This is a great energy for imagination, consciousness, and intuition. However, keeping a good filter to distinguish between your own perceptions and what you are picking up from those around you will be crucial to your success. Your mind is on a different channel than usual with this activation, and you may have to rely on other senses like your feelings or intuitive hunches. You may be very perceptive, picking up the thoughts and feelings of others, which if and when you are clear and your filters are working, will yield some surprising revelations about where their consciousness is at this time, for better or worse. And often it will also reflect an aspect of your own consciousness that you may not have been aware of. Try to avoid work that requires any attention to detail. Allow your creativity to flow freely without censoring what comes through you at this time. You can organize it later. This is the energy to explore, create, and free flow. And didn't that say earlier with Venus to let your creativity free flow? There was more of that early in the week. So definitely give yourself some time outs this week to process what's been going on in your world and start to choose the new vision. Start to cultivate. Remember the life cycle. We've had a life before, we've had this death. We're working on that second life now. What's the resurrection look like? We're totally in the season of resurrection right now and coming back to life that is promised by the sun rising and setting every day. We get a new chance every day. So our last activation of the week happens on Saturday. Mercury is going to trine Pluto, which is really good. That means next week it'll trine Jupiter too. And then we really get the blessings of our consciousness. Where is your consciousness? What are you focused on right now? This activation makes any deep delving within easier and more fruitful. So another blessing of the week for your processing going on, inner processing or personal processing. It encourages you to ask the deeper questions, clarify your deeper feelings, and trust your intuitive gut feelings that are telling you something has to die so that some other aspect of your consciousness can live. I would add that you may also be shedding an old way of expressing yourself, and a new way has been activated that you will have to explore at this time. Tune into your soul self, sort through recently gathered information, and try to understand better what your natural process really is. It is best to be alone for such research. Try to take a day or a weekend and grab your most powerful books and music and get somewhere beautiful if you can. If not, then your bedroom will do just fine. And dig deep. You are finally ready for the deeper truth, and you will be transformed by what you learn. If you must communicate with others, plan on that being deep as well, because Pluto's involved here. So best to talk to a trusted advisor or wise elder. Nothing superficial today. The only warning with this energy is not to become obsessive about one particular idea, and certainly don't try to force any ideas on others. If you feel the deep need to focus on one particular thing, that is fine, but try to keep some perspective or write down all your revelations so that you can reflect on them at a later time when you can be more objective and prioritize better. So quite a week for mental processing, reconnecting to our own values at this time, big important piece to seeding any kind of new vision for going forward. And feeling into that social collective shift from the Cancer, Capricorn eclipses and nodes into the Gemini, Sag eclipses and nodes, and know that that too is a good thing. And if you can reflect on those years, 2010 to 13 and 2001 to 2003, they're very resonant right now, and they are clues to how we were able to navigate those years that will help us right now, and there are absolutely clues that let us know we should not be repeating mistakes from those times either. So be as alert as you can, get under the sky, do some natures, and do some processing of your own. That's what this week is good for. Honor Mother, honor the earth. Beltane is all about being grateful for the Garden of Eden that this planet is. That is so vital that we tap into the gratitude of this season for whatever is working. We know we've got a lot of things on deck to deal with and some pretty hard choices to make in the future, in the very near future, but let's tap into the beauty and the blessing and the healing that Mother's been able to do, and let's bless that. Let's bless that exponentially so that we are able to adapt, because we are such adaptive creatures, to a new way of life that lets her breathe a little better. That's what this season is all about, and we're kicking off 6 weeks to honor the Taurus-Gemini zone of our lives. So touch base there with your own chart if you know your houses, and if you don't, always raise your hand. I'm happy to help people figure that out. And know that I am working diligently for you early birds who have already joined the new Venus Circle. Thank you. For those of you who maybe missed the introduction, it's still very much available. You just have to go to karmictools.com and register on the Venus Open House page. And all the replays and personal goodies will be sent to those of you who submitted birth information. I'm working hard on that book and getting that ready, and we will be launching by the end of May. I think our first Venus Circle is scheduled for May 28th at the moment. That is subject to change, but I thank you all for your patience while I put together your goodies and set up our new teaching platform. So it's taking a lot. And it's just me, as most of you know. So thank you for your time, energy, and support. Reach out if you need to. This is Kelly M. Beard of KarmicTools.com.
Thanks for listening. Please share this with those you think would resonate, and reach out if and when you need to. Kelly at karmictools.com. The goal of my weekly forecast is to alert you to the energies and activations that we're all experiencing and the possibilities for conscious co-creation as an individual. Awareness of the energies is the first key, but I invite you to take it to the next level by checking out my readings, telecircles, and subscriptions, which are all geared toward individual support that helps you understand your own unique blueprint. My specialty is cycles and patterns, and I love helping people figure out their own within the context of the social and collective rhythm. To some, working with their own cycles and patterns is a completely new and foreign concept, but there are many planetary cycles that coincide with natural life cycles that allow us to co-create in mystical as well as practical ways. I create custom tools that I have tried and tested myself for over 30 years, and I do the work alongside my circle every time. So I hope you will reach out if you feel called to dive deeper into your own soul's natural rhythm. Talk to you soon. One love.